You lock eyes from across the room, and it hits you this married woman is undeniably devouring you with raw desire. Her pupils dilate, lips parting as if to inhale you. For most guys, that electrifying spark of intimacy would get rationalized away. But you recognize it as the opening convulsions of her psyche falling into unshakable lustful throes for you. An inescapable gravitational pull drawing her deepest cravings into your orbit through subtle cues you're about to learn. At first, mere fleeting thoughts quickly shaken from her conscious mind. But if her attraction persists, that stray fantasy kernel blooms into overwhelming obsession, subverting her instincts for fidelity in favor of indulging those irrepressible compulsions. In most cases, her rational mind remains oblivious to these primal forces hijacking her psyche until it's too late. Until the very man who first piqued her curiosity has already eroded the foundations of her marriage beyond repair. Unless you can decode the covert signs of her lust leaking into your interactions, you'll overlook them like most men while her passion silently intensifies with each encounter. But not anymore. This guide reveals the top 12 undeniable giveaways that a married woman has fallen under your spell, perhaps without fully realizing it herself. Once you recognize these subconscious calling cards, you'll never misread a woman's intimate intentions again. More importantly, you'll develop an intuition for smelling extramarital temptation from afar. Avoiding those emotional landmines, or selectively indulging if that's your persuasion. Your vision gets upgraded from oblivious to finely tuned emotional connoisseur. Sign number 1. Her eyes start saying "ravage me." One clear sign of a married woman's growing lust is the predatory gaze she directs at you when she thinks you're not looking. Her pupils dilate, and she hungrily rakes her eyes over every contour of your body, devouring you with her stare. In those moments, she disregards social decorum and personal boundaries. Her psyche focuses on an irrepressible biological urge to visually claim what she desires. Her sidelong glances linger a bit too long before she guiltily looks away, momentarily lost in a fantasy where you are the leading man. When her gaze returns, it's filled with panic, realizing her carnal thoughts were briefly exposed. If you start consistently catching her stealing these feverish glances, it means her mind has slipped into a smutty fantasy starring you. These intense, indiscreet looks indicate that her desire for you has overwhelmed her, making you the focal point of her internal fantasies. Sign number 2, voice gets subtly sultrified. A telltale sign of a married woman's faltering restraint arises in the inflections of her speaking voice around you. You'll notice her vocals taking on a breathier, sultrier tone with soft, wispy exhalations and a dreamier, seductive rhythm when enthralled by your presence. Even her laughter may crack with repressed ardor, signaling an intimate energy summoning her amorous side. Often, the woman herself has zero awareness of the erotic subtext accidentally lacing her speech patterns. To her, it's simply an involuntary psychosomatic response emerging from primal regions she can't control. All she consciously perceives is feeling unexpectedly lightheaded and gooey inside whenever you're near. An intangible warmth and buoyancy take over her normal vocal patterns, alongside uncontrollable urges to prolong their interactions. While her words may still convey poise, the slippery vocal styling simmering beneath expose her subconscious has already surrendered itself to being disarmingly aroused by you. Your mere voice and presence have planted seductive roots destined to flourish into overwhelming enchantment, no matter how much she tries to deny it. The subtle sultriness of her tone unmistakably reveals the forbidden craving she's powerless to stifle when in your orbit. Sign number 3, overdressing and preening around you. When a married woman starts to feel attracted to you, you'll notice her grooming habits and fashion choices becoming more polished, specifically when you're around. She's not dressing provocatively, but she appears more refined and put together than usual. She might wear more formal attire, style her hair meticulously, or choose flattering outfits. Extra makeup, fresh manicures, and new perfumes are all part of her effort to appear more alluring and glamorous than her typical housewife look. You'll see that she puts significantly more effort into her appearance when she knows she'll see you. This attention to detail signals that she wants to make a lasting impression, looking her best whenever she's in your vicinity. On a primal level, this enhanced appearance telegraphs that she wants you to associate her with beauty and allure, rather than the casual, unkempt look she might wear at home. By doing so, she's positioning herself as a romantic rival to the more familiar, domestic version of herself, sending a clear, nonverbal message that she desires your attention and attraction. Sign number 4, constant physical proximity seeking. When a married woman is fixated on you, she'll find constant reasons to be near you. Suddenly, she's always lingering in your personal space, using flimsy excuses to stay close. Previously respectful of boundaries, she now seems drawn to you like a magnet. She'll start conversations just inches from your face or position herself nearby, aiming for incidental body contact. These moments aren't accidental. She's deliberately maneuvering herself closer, driven by a deep-seated desire to be near you. Her persistence in invading your personal space reveals just how strong her attraction has become. Sign number 5, conversational segues to intimacy. As her desire for you grows, you'll notice her conversations shifting toward intimate and romantic topics. Where discussions were once tame, they now regularly veer into spicy gossip or hypothetical scenarios about relationships and sex. She might bring up local scandals or ask about your sexual preferences and philosophies. These topics aren't accidental. They're her way of breaking down barriers and gauging your interest in more intimate discussions. By introducing these themes subtly, she's trying to make you comfortable with more graphic content and test the waters for potential escalation. What seems like casual chit-chat is actually her method of probing for any sexual tension and normalizing erotic conversations for future flirtations. Sign number 6, laughter to mask flirtatious discharges. Take a moment to analyze a married woman's laughter patterns. Whenever you share interactions, you'll likely start noticing a strange phenomenon where she's frequently resorting to outbursts of raucous giggling or guffawing over relatively mundane comments or conversational beats that aren't necessarily that humorous within proper context. More often than not, these disproportionately high-pitched cacophonies of mirth erupt shortly after either of you utter something even mildly suggestive or intimate in undertone, regardless of whether that was the original intention behind the statement or not. It's almost as if her subconscious psyche simply cannot allow even the most innocuous innuendos or accidental connotations to slip by without some sort of cathartic discharging of the rampaging sexual tension rapidly accruing all around. So while her conscious mind attempts to play it cool on the surface and save face from blatantly confirming the thick undercurrents of erotic static summoning those outsized laughing convulsions, the unmistakable body language cues during the gale force guffawing tells a vastly different story. You'll catch her twinkling eyes making flat, direct contact as the laughter reaches its crescendo, almost an unmistakable semiotic underlining that the two of you are both exquisitely aware of the mutually acknowledged subtext responsible for eliciting such explosive bursts of mirth. Sign number 7, wardrobe indiscretions and flashing. As a married woman's passion for you grows, you might notice her wardrobe choices becoming more revealing. Her blouse might ride up, her skirt might itch higher, or strategically placed cutouts may expose more than usual. At first, these wardrobe malfunctions seem accidental, but they are often deliberate attempts to catch your eye and provoke your interest. She might deny it with flustered excuses. "I had no idea my dress did that," but these moments are her way of showing her attraction. These subtle, risque glimpses are her method of flirting and testing boundaries, moving from simple flirtation to orchestrating situations where her desires are on display. Sign number 8, emotional exhibitionism and vulnerability. As a married woman's passion for you grows, she won't just rely on revealing outfits or suggestive actions. She'll also start exposing her emotional vulnerabilities, sharing personal and intimate details she wouldn't normally reveal. She may confide in you about marital problems, past traumas, or unfulfilled desires. These revelations are her way of seeking your compassion and drawing you closer. While it might seem uncomfortable, her emotional openness is a deliberate attempt to bond with you on a deeper level. By revealing her vulnerabilities, she hopes to become more than just an object of desire. She's aiming to engage your empathy and connect with you emotionally, hoping to tempt your heart and soul, not just your physical attraction. Sign number 9. Blatant gifts and tokens of affection. When a married woman's passion breaches all decorum, expect blatant gifts and gestures of affection. These might include unexpected bouquets at your home or workplace, intimate apparel like lingerie, or homemade goodies with emotional significance. She might try to downplay these grand gestures. It's just a friendly gift, but they signal that her attraction has moved beyond flirtation. These gifts are her way of breaking down your defenses, showing that her desire is now an all-out campaign to seduce you. Accepting these gifts pulls you deeper into her narrative, while rejecting them only intensifies the game. Either way, these gestures change your dynamic forever, making it clear her passion isn't just a passing fancy. Sign number 10. Manufactured relationship crises. Once a married woman's tortured lust and obsession reach insufferable peaks, it's extremely common for her to start manufacturing exaggerated relationship crises or dramas within her primary partnership as a means of unconsciously auditioning you as a supportive white knight substitute. Suddenly, you'll start witnessing her engaging in frequent heated phone calls, aggressive text exchanges, or emotion-soaked venting ranting sessions about her husband's perpetual thoughtlessness, lack of attunement, anger issues, infidelity tendencies, or any number of other explosive relational gripes, many of which may be grossly embellished or lacking fair context. The transparent aim of broadcasting these intimate hostilities so brazenly is to covertly summon your pity, indignation over how she's being mistreated, and most importantly position you as a sounding board and source of compassion to receive her vulnerability in ways her actual partner cannot or will not. By repeatedly wallowing in these performative showcases of relationship turmoil, she insidiously pulls you closer into his unraveling family drama while auditioning for you to empathize, console, and ultimately replace the husband who's been failing her so miserably as the emotional centerpiece. It's an age-old manipulation tactic designed to have you pitying her unbearable romantic circumstances as justification for her escalating need to anchor into your aura as a more nurturing, attuned safe haven to seek refuge in. All while tastelessly triangulating you as a supported rival in relation to the very man you're supposed to respect as her spouse. Sign number 11. Wild fantasy oversharing. When a married woman moves from subtle flirting to outright objectifying you, expect her to start oversharing her intimate fantasies. What used to be subtle hints now become full-blown confessions of her deepest desires. She'll drop hints about wild, acrobatic scenarios and fetishistic role-playing she's imagined with you. These vivid, unfiltered revelations aren't random, they're her way of breaking down social and moral barriers to seduce you through raw, unrestrained fantasy. Once she shares these hardcore fantasies, she's intertwined your mental and physical desires in a way that can't be undone. Whether you act on it or not, you're now a part of her lustful narrative. Sign number 12. Isolation attempts and setting seduction traps. And finally, when all escalating measures of physical and psychological intimacy grooming have been exhausted, the last unmistakable checkpoint that romantic insurrection has achieved singularity involves her making calculated efforts to manufacture opportunities for aggressive isolation, privacy, and intentional seduction set pieces. This frequently crops up under the guise of her suggesting extremely poor-bounded one-on-one activities, work functions, appointments with just the two of you, or any other protracted periods of forced solitude she can arrange. While the rationale she'll provide seems plausible on the surface, look deeper and you'll sense deliberately orchestrated intentions to ultimately stargaze you into compromisingly personal situations. From there, it's a dangerously brief hop, skip and jump to spontaneous seduction traps, meticulously choreographed role plays, wardrobe indiscretions, and smoldering conversational segues, all raptor plotting to catalyze the sordid erotic scenarios she's been smoldering over for so long into reality. There you have it, the top 12 undeniable signs that a married woman in your orbit has become overwhelmingly lust-struck, even if she herself hasn't yet fully come to terms with the possession currently unraveling her reality. While men often struggle to detect these coded love slips until it's grown into an inescapable inferno, simply mastering the ability to recognize this constellation of cues empowers you to smell the faintest traces of extramarital temptation from a mile away. You'll never again be caught unawares or gaslit about the underlying intentions fueling a married woman's abruptly erratic behavior around you. More importantly, you'll spare yourself needless entanglement in toxic relational minefields you have no business detonating. Or should that married grenades pin already be pulled? At least you can make clear-headed decisions on if and how to responsibly handle the ethical shrapnel blast.